Is IPOB capable of surviving the current state hybrid war? Which war are we talking about? The war that the Zoo government have declared upon IPOB. Don't get it twisted. And not only when they call IPOB, you would think that you are not among, my brother. Indigenous people of Biafra, every Igbo man is IPOB. Believe it or you leave it. Whether you say you are IPOB or you still believe in one Nigeria, the enemies are seeing you as an IPOB, that is indigenous people of Biafra, and no offense. Anyway, let us read this article before we come back to discuss more on the points we are going to raise on this very particular article. As you are watching, kindly drop your opinion at the comment section of this video. This is an important message, and also it's a question mark that left for every one of us, including you that claims to be that said you are one Nigerianist. You need to answer this question as well. Where greed and ignorance thrive, there is bound to be defeat, according to the writer. The problem isn't ignorance, as the case may be, but when those who are irrational and emotional occupy the big boss of a movement like IPOB. I have severally repeated that isn't Biafrans only that are currently pressing for self-determination. From the Middle East down to North Africa, down to Asia and Europe, we are not only people on the surface of this earth that are seeking freedom. When people fail in understanding the importance of comparative analysis and the need for borrowing ideas for successful results through domestications, then such people are either conservative idiots or jokers buying time in their idiocy. IPOB isn't seen in the eyes of the Nigerian state, the imperialists and corrupt Igbo politicians, as most of us see it, while some of us see it as an organization for fame seeking, deal cutting opportunity, and others. The earliest mentioned triple forces see it as a movement that must be crushed. The current paradigm shift by the three actors mentioned in approach against IPOB is quite deepening. And if the Biafran people fail to delink from their current passivity, it will end up remembering IPOB as one movement that existed just as we all remember Masob and others today. The government has realized the importance of dropping a hard approach against IPOB and have activated an advanced soft approach that is quite entirely. While the hard approach, which is mainly the use of military operations, have only earned the Nigerian government bad reputation internationally, as IPOB leverages on the military atrocities of the Nigerian state to present to the world what Nigerian state and brutality are. For Tinubu, such an approach is not workable and thus was revealed. In fact, Canada and some other countries have gone hard on the Nigerian military by laying a strong hold on what IPOB brought to the table against the right-abusing Nigerian military. The Nigerian state doesn't want to keep getting it wrong, so therefore they are on a soft approach, which is mainly psychological ops, internal destabilization, and other non-military operations against IPOB. Such operations can be successful without them identifying certain threats within the circle of the movement. These threats are things like greed, tendency for primitive accumulation, boastfulness, ignorance, and possible mad drive for position seeking. When secret agencies all over the world identify these features within their targets, it becomes imperative that they will have enough human tools to carry out their operations. Two dangerous mindsets I have seen amongst us that put me into questioning our mental composition towards surviving are: number one, that IPOB is indestructible, even when we are aiding and abetting for her destruction through ignorance. Number two, poor mental ability to differentiate core projects from peripheral projects. Let me dwell extensively in dealing with these two destructive mindsets of ours. When people possess such a mindset, the rational thinkers in society become so skeptical to associate with such a group. The theory of IPOB is indestructible. This is just like America saying that USA is indestructible, and they fail to assiduously build up strong defense weapons, or Israel ranting that same without putting air defenses like iron domes and strategic places. Is it not true to say that it is only the black man that illusionarily brags of indestructible without strong defense lines, while others brag about the strength of their defense lines? We profess based on what we think and not what we are doing to protect our lives and our borders. Every movement on this earth is destructible, including IPOB. The only thing that can save IPOB from being indestructible isn't just saying IPOB is indestructible. No, but we understand that such is possible and rise to the occasion of challenging the elements of destruction against IPOB since 2021. IPOB has been facing the worst battle of her life. While the current fight is dangerous, it is a non-military operation, which makes many not acknowledging it because there are no gunshots here and there. But I tell you, the current fight is greater than the battle of trenches. From using Aloy Ejimako and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu siblings to create Simon Ekpa to the current complete hostage taking of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu mind by these actors, there has not been a little fight going on. How would you explain it that a group of people who supported Simon Ekpa that bragged of destroying IPOB publicly are fighting the same Biafra you are fighting? People who went as far as establishing rival radio against Radio Biafra, maligned the leadership and even hosted several meetings against the movement, including with Seyi Tinubu without the knowledge of the leadership, are with us. Sometimes it is not the criminal undertones of these enemies of our freedom that I blame, but the ignorance of many of us towards their operations. For those of us who still believe that IPOB is indestructible, know that nothing on earth is indestructible, including IPOB. In fact, such a mindset is even destructive itself. Every single operation they have launched against IPOB have achieved a particular result, which is weakening the movement. Ekpa, which they created, successfully reduced the bond by taking away the minds of our brethren. Their support for criminality in our land also did some level of damage in the image of the struggle as well. The strategy they are using is the piecemeal destruction approach. That is to say, a gradual but steady attack endlessly with the intention to wear down the movement. That is why they move from one center of attack to another. Core interest. This is another area we failed woefully. We have, out of poor knowledge of events, failed to understand what interest is all about. Every one of us is a sub-interest, while Biafra is the core interest. That is the mother project that overrides other things. Personalities come and go, but the mother project, Biafra, remains immovable. Ojukwu has come and gone. Owazirike is retired. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu will someday be aged, but the mother of Biafra is ageless. These great leaders mentioned above are not the mother project Biafra, but sons of the mother project. Our inability to separate the core interests from the leaders have wrecked down a lot from the time of Great Ikemba. That is the reason when the leader shifted ground, the mother project fizzled out on the lips of our people. Ojukwu took state pardon and joined politics. Of course, the people crashed the Biafra of Ojukwu's time. Owazirike accepted a deal which was facilitated by late Senator Uchechukwu Merije, and today the Owazirike Biafra dies down. Today, both Aloy Ejimako and the Mazi Nnamdi Kanu siblings are pushing and pressuring him to think towards adjustment. He is a man just like Ojukwu and others. He has equally suffered untold sufferings that most people can't bear. In the case of him making a shift, one should understand that he is not the only one that have done same. The question we should ask is, are there machinery to press home the struggle? That is what is called contingency planning. Palestinians, Western Sahara Arabs, Kurdish, etc. all think on this line. For the federal government, they know that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, unlike Owazirike, has built an institution, which means it is not going to be a good idea to make a deal with him, possibly without, first and foremost, destroying that institution. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu might not be interested to do that, but the like of Aloy and co are working hard in futility to get the leadership destroyed, to which I think it is the precondition for idle dialogue. Most times, we blame our heroes for failing to get us to our desired destinations, but have we also assessed our own failures? None of us outside understand the pressure and mental state of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu on daily basis. Why we think our leaders have failed by making a shift? They themselves also see us failures by lazily not understanding that they also expect us to sustain the fight even when the state has captured them. They equally feel disappointed at us for foolishly waiting upon them without pushing on. No one under captivity maintains his prowess. Most decisions from a captive are done out of his or her choice, and thus expects the relatively free ones to understand that if we collectively allow Aloy and co to destroy the leadership of the movement, don't blame Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, who is under captive, if he reneges tomorrow. That's exactly the point they are trying to make here. Okay, this message now, the person that had this message, or rather that broadcast this message, is always this Emeka gift. This Emeka gift. Yeah, Emeka gift. And I also, they said that Nnamdi Kanu or maybe every other one who is fighting for this struggle is easily to give up, because those ones who are following them are not really doing the needful. Since Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's capture, since Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's incarceration, let me ask Emeka's gift, who is based in Canada, if I'm not mistaken, and a core member, and I mean a very full member, body and flesh of IPOB. What have they been able to achieve since Mazi Nnamdi Kanu's disappearance? If they could have been on the right track, doing the right thing, maybe, I repeat, maybe Mazi Nnamdi Kanu wouldn't have handed power over to Simon Ekpa, knowing fully well that there is danger on the line. It is the incompetency of the so-called DOS, Directorate of Saboteurs, and the IPOB members there that allow Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to see them as nobody, to see them as a flavors, to see them as betrayers, and then he decided to renege, to hand over power to an external force whom he believes that can take the matter to a great destination. Now, that same people fought Simon Ekpa ruthlessly to make sure that they destroy him. They couldn't. Then they turned back and tag him saboteur, who is working with Nigerian government. That is exactly the language they will always use. When they couldn't get to you, when they couldn't destroy what you are doing, the next one is you are a sabo and you are playing to the gallery of Nigerian government. That is exactly what they will always say. But notwithstanding, my people, that is the way it is. And I will also encourage each and every one of us to stand firm and make sure we defend those who are dodging bullets for us on daily basis. As we do that, may the Almighty God continue to bless us and meet us at the point of our need. Happy weekend once again. It shall be well with all of us. Que Messiano, my people.